President Trump, how are you, sir?
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
First of all, how are you feeling?
I feel good. We're in the midst of a campaign. We have to fight the government and candidates. Nobody's ever had that before. But I feel good. We're doing well. We're leading. We beat Biden by 18 or 20 points, and then he had to get out of the race. And now they gave me a new one. But I think we're doing very well. Nobody's ever had a double. You know, you have to beat one, and when that person doesn't do well, they say, that's all right, we'll take them out, we'll put a new one in. But I think we're doing very well.
Hopefully they don't yank her and then put a third one in. You never know.
I like how Trump mentioned that he's not only fighting the candidates, he's also up against the government. Because in reality, this is not your typical election. This is not, hey, the Republican candidate versus the Democratic candidate. No, this is Trump up against the establishment. Trump up against the people who are pulling the strings behind the scene. Because you see, the folks who are really running this government, they don't want any part of Trump because Trump is not as easily controlled as someone like Kamala. Kamala is a puppet that will do their bidding. So Donald Trump is he's up against the full power of the U.S. government. They've already tried to take him out. They've tried to assassinate his character for years. They're still trying to throw him in jail. I don't know how that's going to go. There's a possibility that they do. I don't put anything past these people at this point. And I think it's time for Donald Trump to start acknowledging that. Don't just hyper focus on Kamala, because Kamala's who you're up against technically, but also focus on the fact that you're up against something bigger. Because I think that a lot of people are starting to see that. I think that Joe Biden and what happened with Joe Biden was a huge wake-up call for a lot of people who weren't ready to really believe some of the things that we know to be true. You know what I mean? A lot of people still want to believe that they can have faith in the government. They want to believe that they can have faith in these elections. They thought they could have faith in Joe Biden, but seeing how they lied about his condition, seeing how they turned on him in a heartbeat, yanked him out, replaced him with Kamala, this is waking people up to the fact that sometimes these presidents, they're just talking heads, they're figureheads, you know what I mean, that are being controlled by someone else. And that has been made obvious over the past couple of months. It's always been obvious to people like us, but now it's something that even people who disagree with everything we say, it's something that they can no longer really deny. You can't pretend like you're in the know about what's happening in politics and pretend like Joe Biden was the one calling the shots. No, it's all been exposed, right? The house of cards, it's falling down, and we're seeing what really happens behind the scenes and how our presidents often aren't really as important as you think they would be, because what's important is who's behind the scenes actually telling them and controlling them, and having them do their bidding. But Trump, of course, had a lot more to say, and let's just acknowledge the fact really quickly that every single day Trump is talking. Trump does so many interviews that I cannot cover them all on this channel. It's overwhelming. This guy is in front of a camera or a microphone like 24/7. And J.D. Vance is no different. I still don't know how to feel about J.D. Vance, but I will say that he has been willing to talk to anyone. He goes to CNN, MSNBC, he goes into enemy territory all the time, and he is doing these hostile interviews. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris is still hiding from the media. She did that little interview, if that's what you want to call it, on CNN, and it was a complete train wreck. So I don't know if we're really going to hear from Kamala again before the election. I doubt that we'll see more interviews, and if we do, they will be softball, nothing interviews like the one that we got. But Trump was speaking a little bit more about some things, so let's go ahead and tune in, and then I'll be right back with more.
I saw today she wants to build walls. She fought me for years on the wall. I built hundreds of miles of wall, but she was one of the people that fought me. One of the Democrats, but one of the people. And you look at how she's changed. And it's so phony because, and all of this stuff, with politics, it's usually their first thought, that's where they are. And her first thought is Marxism. She's not going to have walls. She's going to have people. We'll have 100 million people in this country within 4 years if she gets elected. 100 million. They've already allowed 20 million in. I think it's a lot higher than that. And Mark, they come from prisons and jails. There's a slight difference. And they come from mental institutions and insane asylums. And they come also as terrorists at a level that we've never seen before. And they're pouring into the country. We have millions of people coming in, but hundreds of thousands of those people are criminals from Venezuela. They take them off the streets of Caracas and they bring them into our country, and then they announce their crime rate is way down. You know, that's what they've done. Their crime rate is way down now. But they come from Africa, Asia, the Middle East, and from South America. And they're destroying our country. And when you watch her, like at the convention, oh, everything's just peachy-dory. But migrant crime is turning out to be a disaster. Many, many people are killed and raped and mugged and everything else. These are tough people. But they let them out of jails. You take Venezuela. Their crime rate is down at a number they've never had before. They're taking all of their criminals and busing them into the United States of America and dropping them and saying, if you come back, we will kill you. And then I'm supposed to sit and debate this person, and she'll say, oh, no, it's wonderful, it's wonderful. And now she's going around and saying, we had the weakest border in history. She was the border czar. She was put in charge of the border. We had the weakest border in the history of the world, I think. I believe it's not just here, the world. And now she's going around saying, oh, I think I'm going to build a wall.
When Kamala Harris stole Donald Trump's no tax on tips idea, I mean, I think that ruffled a lot of feathers. It really showed that she has no originality. And she's out here trying to copy things that she knows is working because it's been working for Donald Trump. So we definitely have a copycat, a copy Kamala on our hands. But even though, you know, I thought that was kind of a big deal when she stole the Trump's, you know, no taxes on tips idea, that is nothing compared to how she has flip-flopped on the border wall. You guys might remember, I've mentioned it before, when Trump used to talk about this border wall, I mean, they demonized it to the point that you would think that it was the worst thing that could ever happen to humanity. And Kamala Harris was at the forefront criticizing Donald Trump every step of the way for this border wall, acting as if he was a big, bad racist. He must hate every other race of people. How dare you divide people? How dare you try to build this wall? Yada, yada, yada. You can go online. You can go look through the receipts. Kamala Harris has said a lot about the border wall. But guess what? Now she's talking about building the border wall herself. So she's really morphed into Donald Trump. And that shows you how crazy this election is. And it shows you that the people voting for Kamala, they're not really voting for policies. They're voting for her because she's a woman and because they think that she's black, even though she's not. She's lying about that too. But anyways, so Kamala Harris has no thoughts, no policies of her own. So she's just copying everything Donald Trump is doing. And the same people who hate Donald Trump for doing these things, they love Kamala Harris for doing it. Donald Trump is basically part of the 3K alliance, right? He's a white supreme pizza, right? Donald Trump is a white supremacist, right? For building the wall. But Kamala Harris, she's a brave, stunning, strong, independent black woman for building that wall. You know what I mean? So it shows you these people never really were against Donald Trump's policies and what he planned on doing for our country. No, they just hated him as an individual because they've been buying into all of this crazy madness that the mainstream media has been spreading. It shows you that these people have TDS. They're not voting against Trump's policies. They're voting against Trump as a person. And they're not voting for Kamala Harris's policies. They're voting for her as a person because she's a woman and they think she's black. But I honestly, I think it's hilarious. But I don't see how someone could do this and not expect to be called out about it, but Kamala Harris can, because she's not talking to anyone. And even when she does, the media plays it easy. You know, they take it easy on her. But I honestly don't see how in modern day society with the internet, when we can pull up everything Kamala Harris has ever said about the border wall, you got to be bold as F. You got to know. You got to know for a fact that your voter base is low IQ and doesn't do research. You know what I mean? To come out there and pretend like you're for the border wall now and you never had this big problem with it that you had in the past. It's really wild. It's really crazy. But it shows you how confident the Democratic Party is in basically being able to do whatever they want because they know people are going to vote for them regardless. And they can make themselves look as stupid and hypocritical as they want to in the process. And that's sad. It really is. But that's life, and that's what we're dealing with. So you got to take this stuff seriously. But for now, I want you all to let me know what you think down in the comments below. There's no border wall. You can let me know what you think. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell. And if you find yourself getting too worked up by all of this, remember, it's just political cinema.